Here we go!
Welcome to the Nintendo Power Zone. We are a videocast / podcast dedicated to bringing you the best Nintendo-related topics. As always, I'm your host, NyceOne, and I am joined by my illustrious co-host, the King Blooz. Welcome back to the show. Happy New Year, and welcome to 2020, my brother.
It's kind of wild. I didn't think, it's been 20 years over. I'm having, some kind of existential crisis. 21, 2 decades of my life over and just gone.
Yeah, wait till you get to my age, 36, bro. Then you just start to feel like you're halfway done with your life entirely. Anyhow, Enough of this morbid news. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I know you guys aren't aware of this, but at the tail end of November, the Game Masters Council and I, we had a sit down. We discussed some changes that we needed to make to the show in general, things that would improve our content, because we're always trying to bring you the best Nintendo-related topics and content. And in doing that, we decided we had to start adding content, and this is the first of the brand new content that we're delivering you. So we decided that predictions for Nintendo Directs were one of the things that we were going to do pretty regularly. So we hope you enjoy this new style of content. And it just so happens that a couple days ago, Nintendo announced a Pokemon Direct via all their social media platforms, and they said it's going to be a 20-minute Direct. It's happening tomorrow at the time of this recording. Now, we've done E3 predictions before, but we've never done them specifically for Directs. So this is going to be a very interesting show, to say the least. We do have some ground rules. We don't need to specify them here. You'll kind of get the gist of it as we speak with the ground rules that we've laid forth. But with that being said, we will be allowed to have some outlandish predictions as we see fit. But with all that, enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and get into what our predictions for the Nintendo Direct. And we're going to start with what's most likely to be revealed during the Nintendo Direct. Starting with Pokemon Home and its functionality. How will this connect to Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Go, and the Let's Go games, etc., etc.? We know this is coming. They announced it when they announced Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then all the controversy happened because people didn't get what they wanted. When they found out that Pokemon Sword and Shield wasn't going to have access to every single Pokemon, people got very upset. And how is this going to connect? What are your thoughts on how they're going to do the connectivity? Because we're talking about 3DS hardware trying to connect to the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be a big thing. But are they going to announce it, in your opinion? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, I just want to say that I'm upset. You think the most likely thing you're going to announce is not the revival of Pokemon Mac and Cheese. But as far as Pokemon Home goes, I think more than likely it's just going to be an improved Pokemon Bank. However, because of the whole Dexit thing, my hope with it, I'm not sure if I've already said this on the show before, is that it will be a whole sort of world, almost like, Pokemon Ranch on the Wii. They should just have it be like Pokemon Ranch, so you can an extended version of Pokemon A-Me or Pokemon, Camp from the Sword and Shield games, but you have all your Pokemon there. So even if my Charizard, my Blastoise, my Venusaur can't be in Sword and Shield, I can still have them in Pokemon Home, and I can pet them and feed them cupcakes, make some curry maybe, because that way at least you can interact with them and not just organize them.
Yeah,
I think that makes the most sense to appease fans, but I think it's just going to be a simple system.
So basically just turn it into what Pokemon Ranch was on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
First off, underrated game, but I really hope the Pokemon don't appear in that Mii style that they appear in Pokemon Ranch. I hope that they've taken the 3D assets that we've had.
Yeah,
in the past few
they
games
used the models that they've had to recreate and couldn't fit into Sword and Shield. Yeah. I hope that's what they use them for.
All right, so what about price point for Pokemon Home? This is because they charged for Pokemon Bank, but Nintendo didn't charge for the
online
services during the Wii U, and DS and 3DS era. So this is the first time where we already have a paid for service. Is the Pokemon Company going to ask us to pay X amount of money to have this in addition to paying what we pay for annually for Nintendo Switch Online? So I have multiple Switches. I pay $35 a month. I have 3 Switches linked to my account currently. Am I going to have to pay X amount of more money to bring Pokemon Home, to utilize Pokemon Home? But if somebody else has Pokemon that is part of my Nintendo Switch Online, will they have to get their own separate Pokemon Home accounts? Or is this going to be just shoehorned into Nintendo Switch Online? If I have my choice, personally, I'm going to pick I would rather have them build it around Nintendo Switch Online, build that service into something far more functional than it is. So we've had it for a year now, and it's gotten better, but it's not the service that it needs to be yet. Yeah. I believe adding functionality to Pokemon Home would definitely help. Thoughts?
So I'm with you. If I had my choice, I would have it be free included with Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think that they would let a monetization opportunity go free, though. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we have to like nickel and dime, like $100 for the service. I think, Pokemon Bank was $5 for the year. It's basic, whatever. And I think that they will probably monetize it with a subscription. I think, though, the smart thing to do is just to have a free version and a premium version. And the free version is just, hey, you can connect to Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and all the places you could pull your Pokemon from, you can transfer them, and that's all it does. But if you want to trade from Pokemon Go or trade the trading system they talk about that you would be able to do from here, you can't trade on the free version. You can't access your living room that you pet your Pokemon like I want. You can't access those. Maybe some organization options would not be present. I don't know, but I think if the smart thing to do is just because we had the free trials for Pokemon Bank in the past, so that people could transfer them in. But that's still just kind of like, well, I missed that. Can I still transfer my Pokemon? So it's if they have to not do that. They're already under so much heat. Charging money to transfer things is just they're already not able to be in the game. Don't charge people for Pokemon they can't get in the game. No. I think as far as price points go, I think the $5 is very reasonable. $10 for a lot of Pokemon I can't get in the game is a bit much.
I think
it's that's just the premium features.
I think $10 is the maximum I'd be willing to pay to utilize Pokemon Bank. It's an entire $10. After that, you're gonna have a hard time justifying it. Look, I'm not a big proponent of Dexit, but there are some Pokemon that I wish I had access to.
I miss Slowpoke so much.
So, to charge me to store my Pokemon in a way and not be able to use them in the current mainline game, it's gonna bum me out ever so slightly. But it doesn't mean I won't subscribe to the service. But at that point, I also feel like you have to price this fairly because we already have to have the Nintendo Switch Online account, and depending on how many Switches you have, that's either $20 a year or $35 a year. And if you charge me an extra $10, that's $45 a year, which is still cheaper than Sony and Microsoft's online platforms. Because they are $60 for the PlayStation Online and Xbox Live
for a whole year. Yeah,
for a whole year. So I don't want to pay more. I don't want to get to the point where I'm paying the equal price point to what they are with the services that we have, and these two services need to be under that price point. So $45 is probably the max that I'm willing to spend. I do like your idea about being able to play, pet, or feed your Pokemon in that a la Pokemon Ranch. I completely forgot about Pokemon Ranch. But yeah, there was some cool stuff there. Like it can't be a box like in Pokemon Stadium. It has to be much more expansive as to what you allow us to do within that. And then ultimately, we know that we will go ahead and get, those Pokemon are playable in whatever next game you announce. But it seems like we're a little bit ways off from a next game. It's been less than 2 months since the launch of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Any other thoughts on Pokemon Home and its functionality? Oh yeah, Pokemon Go.
I think it will. It will work with Pokemon Go.
They did showcase that in like the screenshots when they announced it that it will have Go functionality. But I wonder what happens to the IVs when you try, because when you transfer Pokemon over from Pokemon Go into Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, there's a whole lot of stats that they just don't have that get
get randomized essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Because how they do it in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is they take them and they become entirely new random encounters. So the IVs are generated just like they generate IVs for a random wild Pokemon you would run into.
Now, I hope that does a little bit of a better system because like some really like perfect IV Pokemon in Pokemon Go that I would like to bring over and have them have like some really great stats, not like I only have like 3 out of 6 stats like perfect.
Yeah, I think the smart thing to do if you were planning on transferring those like perfect Pokemon in Pokemon Go is to don't. I think if you transfer the bad shinies that you don't care about and you just want them in your own game on Sword and Shield, transfer some Pokemon just to fill things out, get some egg moves, get a dex completion. I don't know, but don't transfer your perfect stuff. Use those to take over some gyms. I just see that being a waste. I don't think they're going to do anything to fix that.
You know what they should do? What could be done is on Pokemon Go's end. Not that I think Niantic is capable of doing anything worthwhile.
They should just add all 6 IVs and
exactly, or just increase the movesets for the Pokemon so that you can do these kinds of things with Pokemon transfers into Pokemon Home. Now, my main concern about Pokemon Home's functionality is how it connects to Pokemon Bank, because now again, like I stated earlier, we're talking about like handheld last gen hardware versus like current gen. Technically handheld, but also home console. Like, I don't think it's ever been stated if the 3DS and the Nintendo Switch can communicate locally with one another. But I know that they do in Monster Hunter.
At least in the Japanese version, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Japanese version of, was it Monster Hunter Ultimate?
Generations Ultimate, but it was like Double Cross there.
Yeah, Double Cross. There is cross functionality there. So, I mean, I guess they could do it that way. Or but how's that going to work? Are we going to have to download a separate app the way we have to do for the eShop releases of Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Silver?
So I think it will most likely require online. I think there's going to be like, so you know how Pokemon Bank is a cloud computing service? So it connects to the cloud, which is linked to your Nintendo Network ID on the, your Nintendo account, which that's what it's linked to. So that information is on the internet. So it'll go like, oh, hey, you transferred this Pokemon from Pokemon Bank to Pokemon Home, connect that information to the cloud, do it that way is kind of how I see it working. But that's bad for people that don't have the online functionality to do so. Not everyone has online.
Well, I don't know what else we could really discuss. This is like Jaden's forte, like the technical aspects of how this would go down. This is all him. He's working. We're recording
this. Very band with a good job.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm like, what am I doing?
We're recording a podcast. All right, but with that said, we can go ahead and move into our second most likely to be revealed during this Pokemon Direct.
Pokemon Mac and Cheese. It's going to happen. They're going to bring it back.
I just hate mac and cheese so much. It grosses me out. The release date and trailer for Pokemon Sleep and the Pokemon Go Plus accessory.
Oh, that's a name.
So we know this is coming. The Pokemon Company really liked what they were able to accomplish with Pokemon Go, and that was getting people active. And during Pokemon Go's heyday, its prime, millions of people were playing at the same time. They were exploring their towns, exploring different towns. I drove out of state a few times, and as soon as I was out of state, I opened up Pokemon Go to see what was happening and see some of the sites that were in the other states that I was visiting. But they were happy with that. And now that the craze has died down, the Pokemon Company wants to capture our imaginations while we sleep with Pokemon Sleep. So it's not really a game. This is just going to measure how we sleep and give us points, and it will have connectivity to Pokemon Go in some way, shape, and form. They're releasing a brand new peripheral for this. Or at least Nintendo is releasing a brand new peripheral because Nintendo handles the peripherals that get released for these games, like the Pokemon Go Plus, the Pokeball Go Plus, and now the Pokemon Go Plus Plus. Such a terrible name.
Yeah.
It's just such a terrible name. Plus. Okay, but whatever.
I think also just have. Sorry.
I think we're going to learn more about how this works. What we're going to need to actually how to utilize this properly, and how it can be applied to the games that we play that include connectivity to Pokemon Go, and I believe they said connectivity to Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get with too.
They were going to give out not prizes, but gifts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really not excited
10
about
Pokeballs
this.
for sleeping.
I'm not excited about this in the slightest, but the Pokemon Company is for some reason, they see this as their way into capturing the health nuts with Pokemon. This kind of goes back to the quality of life stuff that Nintendo was doing way back in the day. And I speculated when they announced the Pokemon Go Plus that some of the quality of life technology that Nintendo had developed for the Wii, which was supposed to go on the Wii U, which was ultimately canceled by the time the Switch came out, got utilized in the Pokemon Go Plus Sleep accessory. I don't think Nintendo ever lets a good idea go to waste in their mind. And I think that they've been slowly trickling the tech out. I think some of it's in the Joy-Cons. I think some of it's in the Ring Fit Adventure Resistance Ring. And I think some of it is being applied here in the Pokeball Sleep accessory, Pokemon Go Plus. I kind of want it just because I don't want to have a hole in the Pokemon Go accessory section. But aside from that, we're gonna see how this is gonna work. But I have terrible sleep habits. I sleep about 3 to 4 hours a night, every night. So this is just gonna tell me what a terrible human being I am as far as how I take care of my body. And I'm not sure I'm down with that.
I think it won't just insult you, but I think it will be like, hey, try having a glass of warm milk an hour beforehand and getting in bed or something like. I think it's gonna be like, hey, try this.
A glass of warm milk before bed will kill me, or it'll definitely make my girl very, very upset.
Well, you know what I mean. It'll give you tips to be help your sleep. Try this. Wii Fit's breathe through your nose. It's sleep better.
I'm also a terrible snorer. I wonder if they're going to be able to pick up on that. And I toss and turn. Dude, that device, I will be surprised if it manages to stay on the bed while I sleep. Because that's the point of this. This device, the Pokemon Go Plus, is supposed to be on the bed beside you. The only way it survives the night is if it's under my pillow, because it's going to end up on the floor. I sleep with headphones on, earbuds, wireless earbuds. Every morning I wake up and they're
all over the
under
place.
me. They're under me. Cause I was like, how did they go from here to under me? But that's how much I toss and turn. I'm interested to see what they have to say about this. You know, it's coming up like 20 minutes. They're gonna do like some rapid fire stuff. And I believe this is a top priority for them. Anything where Nintendo can sell a peripheral and they can make a quick buck in the mobile market, the Pokemon Company has been willing to do so. We look at Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Quest, any way that they can seep their way into that market. The Pokemon Company has shown that they are willing to do games like Magikarp Jump, which is a terrible game. It's not even a game. It's really not even a game. You do nothing. You do nothing in Magikarp Jump.
It's an idle game, so that's kind of fun. And you get to fish up a Magikarp every so often, and that's kind of cute.
I played that game for 15 minutes, and I was like, I want to burn my phone. All right, but moving on. We have one more most likely. I'm sorry. We have two more most likely to be revealed. And this one gets me excited. Detective Pikachu 2. We are most likely going to see the trailer for that game. They said they're working on it. Not the film trailer, but the game. All right? We're going to see a new game trailer for Detective Pikachu 2 with the possibility of a Detective Pikachu 1 HD re-release for the Nintendo Switch. I don't think that game sold well enough for them to like really justify putting the sequel on the Switch without also releasing the original game on the Switch as well. So I think we're going to get an announcement of both. You know, the Detective Pikachu film did extraordinarily well. It was the most successful video game film, period. It wasn't a bad movie either by like, you know, regular movie standards. It's a pretty decent movie in general. They want to capitalize on the hype. We're going to see the trailer. They probably should have had it sooner. You know,
to sort of ride the tailwind.
Exactly, yeah. Because now it's been like, you know, that movie came out in June.
Yeah.
So it's been a good minute.
Almost a year, yeah.
It's been a minute.
I don't think it'll be Detective Pikachu 2. I think I mentioned this previously as well, but it's going to be Detective Pikachu Deluxe. It has an extra chapter or two to continue the story that way. They're not going to make a whole sequel. I doubt it.
I think they could do a sequel. I think
they could. They just don't want to.
Because remember, this game was technically an episodic content game.
Yeah.
Japan, it initially started as an episodic content game before they released like the first 2 chapters and then like stopped. And then they're just like, fuck it, drop it as one whole game. And I think the people who bought the first 2 chapters got like a discount if they bought the game digitally. But the game ends basically to be continued. Like you don't get a definite ending. But I do think that there are enough adventures that this character could have to extend the franchise out just a little bit. I love Detective Pikachu. I know it was like baby's first like point and click adventure, but it was fun, and it's kind of funny to hear Detective Pikachu not voiced by Ryan Reynolds with the gruff detective voice, chugging on coffee. Look, ain't nothing wrong with Ryan Reynolds' portrayal of Pikachu. It's just Deadpool. He was Deadpool. And I kind of liked the voice actor that they had for, you know, the actual game itself.
I agree.
It would be funny, though, if Nintendo was like, hey, Ryan, you want to re-record the vocals for the first game for us for the HD version? And Ryan Reynolds doesn't really say no to anything. I mean, look at his film career. Really doesn't say no to a whole lot. That's why he does so much. Whatever. He's making money. But yeah, I totally see him saying yes to something dumb like that and giving the game a little bit more of like that Deadpool quality. Although you never know with Nintendo. They might just keep the actual traditional voice actor. But it would be great if they did it. I do think either way, we're getting a trailer. If it's, you know, Detective Pikachu like definitive edition or, you know, with extra chapters to close out the story, or if it's a sequel, I do think we're definitely getting a full-fledged trailer. And I think it's going to be awesome.
I think we're also getting a release date. If we're getting just a deluxe version, we're getting a release date. If we are getting 2 and then a port of 1, we're getting the one release date and a time window for 2.
I could totally see that. And if we're getting a release date for Detective Pikachu for an HD version for the Switch, I say it's coming by March.
Honestly, if they do your idea of, 1, I could see them shadow dropping 1 today.
During that direct?
Yeah, like on the eShop. Like, just, hey, you can download
that would
this
be
now.
insane. That would be insane.
Starts.
All right, but then we got to discuss price point. If they shadow drop it, what's the price point look like for that game? Because it is a 3DS game, and even there's not a whole lot they have to do to make it look good on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot, like for an HD release of that.
But it's still HD, so they can still charge more. I think they're gonna maybe aim for 30, honestly, anywhere from 20 to 30.
See, I'm
because
thinking
it's originally what, $40?
Yeah,
there's extra content, and there's if it's 1, I guess not, but it's HD, and they can charge a little bit more for being on a new console.
See, now I'm excited for a shadow drop. I'm gonna be super disappointed if they don't shadow drop the game now.
Sorry.
See, now you got my hopes up, man, in a bad way. In a bad way. Because you never get what you want from Nintendo during a Nintendo Direct. You get what Nintendo knows you need, not what you want when you want it. So now I'm gonna be like expecting a shadow drop. And here's the trailer for Detective Pikachu 1 HD.
You've summed up my experience in Nintendo Direct and hoping for ARMS support so much.
That's how it goes, man. Like,
I want ARMS support.
I've been a Nintendo fan forever, since the 80s. Since the 80s, because I'm old. And I have just come to realize, as a Nintendo fan, Nintendo never gives you what you want when you want it. They give you what you need when they decide you need it. And that applies to Nintendo Direct, because there's a hold on. I already saw like let's call them a rival podcast drop a video that says did Nintendo make a mistake by having a Pokemon Direct instead of a traditional Direct first? Okay, I do want to rebut them, but without insulting them. Okay. If you are a true Nintendo fan, one thing you should make note of going forward, when Nintendo drops a Pokemon Direct, it is either immediately before, like a week or two, or immediately after a standard Nintendo Direct. Pokemon always does their own Directs. Why is that? Because Pokemon Company is and Game Freak are second-party developers to Nintendo, and their franchise is big enough to warrant their own Directs, even if they're 5, 6, 8 minutes long, which they've done. We've seen them drop 6 to 8 minute Directs before. Yeah. And even if they don't have like anything big, they'll just one trailer for the main game. They just drop it on YouTube, say, hey, new trailer, 24-hour Galarian Ponyta live stream, stuff like that. And they just do it. That for Pokemon X and Y, no, I'm sorry, Sun and Moon, that first Direct had images off of a computer showing Pikipek. That was key art for the game. Not even like the real key art, just like here's a character, here's a Pokemon, here's a Blastoise in a fire truck, which we never see in the game. Never happens in Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's so vicious. They certainly showed it, had people thinking that we were going to be driving vehicles. I know. And they're like, oh yeah, that became the Pokemon ride system. What? What? No, I don't accept that answer. You give me Blastoise in a fire truck right now. Anyhow, if we're getting a Pokemon Direct separate, it usually means we're going to be getting a standard Nintendo Direct. Relatively soon. Look, don't quote me on this as saying like this is law. This is like biblical religious stuff that you need to follow to a T. But typically one precedes the other. So you should be expecting a standard Nintendo Direct within 2 or 3 weeks. With that said, though, I don't know why I'm still getting notifications on my iPad, even though I've muted the damn thing. Whatever. I am super excited about the release of any type of Detective Pikachu game. I did really enjoy it, and I would like to go ahead and replay it, but I don't really see a whole lot of reasons to go ahead and dust off my 3DS. I'd rather play it on the Switch, dock it, and play the game comfortably. Hey, could you imagine adding some pointer controls? Like, just kick back and just, like, point at the screen and click that.
So click that. Game. If they don't do that, I'm going to be upset.
You know, if it is a sequel, I hope the story gets a little bit darker, a little bit more like Phoenix Wright-esque in the story department. But yeah, Detective Pikachu 1, Detective Pikachu HD, and Detective Pikachu 2, those are pretty likely to be revealed in my opinion. All right, next up in the most likely to be revealed, new Pokemon announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. But wait, Gigantamax forms and region-based forms only. So, after the launch of the game, we got the reveal of Gigantamax Snorlax. I believe that we are going to see more Gigantamax forms for Pokemon that are already part of the Galar Dex.
So, there's only one Pokemon that is in the code that does that, besides Snorlax, which was in the code, and then he came out like immediately, which is Toxtricity. Toxtricity is the only Pokemon that has a Gigantamax form that is not currently released. However, I do see them. So, you know, the Gigantamax Snorlax event has just ended, and the Magikarp event has just ended. The Delibird event's over. So we're going to maybe get the next event, you know, talked about today. Like, hey, you know, shiny starters can be found with their hidden ability in these raids.
I would be completely about shiny starters in raids.
Or like either some of the higher shiny chance or new hidden ability Pokemon or something that isn't current news, but I think they're going to save Toxtricity for a bit. They're just going to be like, hey, yeah, you can catch this, you know, starting now in the wild area. Have at it.
All right, and then my second prediction, I think we might see some new region-based forms for currently existing Pokemon. Now, I believe it got leaked via Twitter that some Pokemon will appear in their non-Galar-based forms. Like Zigzagoon would be getting his
Cantonian or
Johto form. Johto.
Zigzagoon is
no
Hoenn.
Hoenn, yeah. Hoennian form?
Yeah.
Hoennian form? Ho form. It says Ho form.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just did that. Hey, we're protecting ourselves from the COPA law right now by using that kind of lingo. Hashtag YouTube Purge 2020. But yeah, I do think we're going to see, we know for a fact that we're going to see, it was leaked, so we don't know for a fact, but it was leaked that we're going to see the non-Galarian forms, but I do think that some other Pokemon will have Galarian forms revealed in the game. I think that's really likely. The Galarian forms and the Alolan forms of Pokemon have been really popular ideas, you know, for these games.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go on ahead and extend that, and it's easy for them to do. They've probably experimented with those forms during the development of the game entirely. Like, which Pokemon are coming back from which generations? Which ones would be fun to, you know, to alter forms? And obviously, you know, Ponyta and Rapidash and Meowth. By the way, I don't think we discussed this before, but Berserker is legit the best evolution of Meowth that has ever existed. That thing is my favorite Meowth evolution. The Alolan Persian is such a
Garfield.
It's so Black boring. Garfield. It was such a boring evolution, but then you get to Berserker, and I was like, good for you.
Yeah, I love the whole Viking motif they went with.
And then I love like when he's, you know, when they charge at you, like they do the Wolverine,
like claws.
The claws just get all long and they like charge it. Also, scariest Pokemon to run away from in the wild area are Galarian Mouse and Berserkers. They are relentless. It's like running away from Weaviles. I love it, but I do think it's an easy thing for them to add to the game. You know, they've experimented with the forms. I think they'll show up.
Well, they've been like the official Pokemon Twitter has been teasing old forms for months. They have like pictures of like, oh, here's Zigzagoon, here's the old Zigzagoon, and here's Vulpix, here's Alolan Vulpix and Sword and Shield. And they've been tweeting these pictures for months, and we're like, well, fuck you. Pikachu. We can't get those Pokemon.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be their big Sword and Shield announcement. And if I didn't realize that Toxtricity was the only Pokemon that hasn't had a Gigantamax form added to the game. I would love Toxtricity to have a Gigantamax form available because that is my favorite electric Pokemon.
It's my favorite Pokemon in the entire gen.
Yes,
that
best Pokemon of the gen in general. Mm-hmm. It's the best Pokemon this generation, but it's also one of the best electric Pokemons they've added to the game in years. There are 8 generations, and this is an electric Pokemon gets shafted every generation. We finally got one that is legitimately awesome, and I believe competitively viable.
Ish. It's not going to be like top tier, but it's pretty good. I'm using it, so. But like, yeah, we've got every year. There's like the Pikachu clone. All right, cool. There's, the Jolteon clone. That's Bolton's this time. Manectric was in Gen 3, and that's not even always do we get that like Jolteon clone. But it's always worse Jolteon or worse Manectric. And it's
let's go back. Like Rotom has been like the best electric Pokemon for a long time. Yeah. It's been Rotom, and obviously its forms and whatnot. But I like the typing of Poison Electric, and I know it does have the ×4 which is like ground.
Ground, yeah.
Yeah. But it's still awesome. It's still an awesome Pokemon. It looks. It doesn't even really look like a Pokemon.
No, it's kind of freaky, but I like it.
Yeah, and I like the fact that it has 2 forms. Like you have the amped form. I don't remember what the other one's called.
So it's amped up and low key.
Yeah, I don't use the low key form, but I like the color scheme of the low key form a little bit.
Yeah, I love Blue Electricity. Blue Electricity does not use enough, and I'm kind of pissed that they gave him a stupid head.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to see what his Gigantamax form looks like. Plus, I have caught way too many Toxels. I would love to purge some of them to add one with some Gigantamax stats. Just because.
I honestly don't know if I love the design of Gigantamax Toxtricity from the leaks that I've seen. And I really was hoping that the G-Max move would be better. The G-Max move is it has a chance to either poison or paralyze. And that's I kind of like the electric terrain more, to be honest.
But if you poison and you have what's that one move that does
Venoshock?
Yeah, you do Venoshock, you get all that extra poison damage.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to bank on that and use that as opposed to Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb, you probably could.
I don't know. For some reason, I always miss with Sludge Bomb. I just always miss. Anyway. All right. So we've talked about what's most likely to be revealed. I think it's time to go ahead and talk about what's possible, but not really that likely. So for my first prediction here, a theatrical film tease. The potential reveal of a Detective Pikachu sequel, or the announcement of a Pokemon film set in that same universe but follows a much more traditional Pokemon storyline. Thoughts on a film release?
I think we are probably going to get another film. I mean, we know that the sequel to Detective Pikachu is happening. It's already going.
Which I don't know how they're going to sequelize that film. The way they ended that movie was very definite.
Yeah, he's not Detective Pikachu. He's Ryan Reynolds, his son, and their Pikachu. I know, yeah. I have no clue. But so it's. I think that it's likely going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in a Pokemon Direct. I feel like Pokemon Direct, all right. So you know how we saw that business financial meeting before E3 when they talked about, hey, just
the Pokemon press conference.
Yeah, that. I think that's for stuff like that, or is to announce you're on your own. I feel like the Direct is kind of going to be focused on gaming news specifically. I don't think we'll see anything for the anime, anything for the real plushies or merch. I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot of anything else. I think it's going to be all right, here's some mobile games, here's some Switch games, here's some wild area events and a Pokemon Go event and stuff like that.
See, I'm in total disagreement. I totally think that the Pokemon Company has gotten to this point where they're like, we can do no wrong, even when people are highly upset with the choices we make. We're gonna go ahead and drop a teaser trailer for a film, and
I think
we give zero fucks about like. Again, we do what we want, not what you want us to do. And I think they would totally drop a theatrical film like tease for if they were going to do a film tease. I don't think it would be for the Detective Pikachu 2 sequel. I think it would be for another live action film set in like that same universe that follows the more traditional like Trainer Red storyline that everybody kind of wanted them to do in the first place, but then they did Detective Pikachu instead.
Which is such a weird choice. Like, we don't really talk about that enough. They chose, Detective Pikachu, the game, to make a movie. of all the Pokemon things you could have done.
I think it was a weird choice initially. But I think it freed them up a lot in the sense that they were able to do whatever they wanted on the with that film. Now, what they ended up wanting to do ended up being following the storyline of the game fairly closely. Like it was, they took a lot of liberty with
his dad.
They made it. It's if you've played the game, you know that there are a lot of similarities between the two. And because I had played the game and the game had only been out for about a year by the time the film came out, I kind of wanted them to veer from the story of the game a little bit more than they actually did. That's not exactly one for one, but it wasn't what I thought of it. I thought they would take more liberties, and they didn't. Like like how they do with comic book movies. There are some things that you expect to see, but there are other things that they don't necessarily do that are better for a film. And I think Detective Pikachu did that, but just not as much. It was a weird decision at first, but it ended up working out for them in the long run, because it first off, it removed them from having any expectations from the audience. Like, if they were to start with that big traditional gym leader Elite Four storyline, our expectations for the film would be something that they would have difficulty trying to match.
Yeah.
But now that they've gotten the film out of the way, they've shown us that real world Pokemon can look good. They are allowed to play with that a little bit more and do that storyline. And now they can, find some good actors to portray characters like Red, Brock, Misty. And, I think they can do that now. And it was a weird choice then, but I think now that they've got one film under their belt, they're able to go and tackle a more traditional, Pokemon film with less worry. Like,
speaking of real world Pokemon, so you know how the studio that made Detective Pikachu's like Pokemon got shut down, right? Does that mean that they're going
Wait, was that the same studio that did
Sonic's redesign?
I did not know that. I did not realize that studio got shut down.
Yeah, so actually, if they are making the sequel, do they already have all the Pokemon they would need? Or are they going somewhere else from or something?
I would assume that who made that film? Lionsgate? Not Lionsgate. Legendary. Legendary made that film. I would assume that Legendary hired up the people who were important for those Pokemon. It's just like, look, you guys are out of work, but you're in the middle. We need you for this sequel. You guys come to work for us, and now we own all those assets.
All right.
I don't think they could really do it without that studio. I mean, they could, but then you end up. Have you ever seen the original 1990 Ninja Turtle film, 1989 movie?
I don't believe so. No.
All right. Well, it's such a good movie, but Jim Henson's studios was designed to make was contracted to make the costumes for that movie.
Really?
By the time they got to the third movie, they had fired Jim Henson Studios, and then by the time the third movie came out, the costumes and the animatronics that were put in that film were abysmal. I don't think that they want to do that with the Pokemon franchise because it can bank for them, and they do not. The second we get a subpar live action Pokemon movie, As
It's over.
As far as the visuals are concerned, look at the backlash that Sonic has endured for having a terrible character. Like there are much more Pokemon fans than Sonic fans. You cannot make Pokemon look terrible. People will go ham, and there are already some Pokemon that I don't think look that great in the film, specifically Togepi. And I know he's only in the film for like 4 seconds, but he looks like crap.
But like that Togepi was fucking pissed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which it's the happiness Pokemon.
Well, I mean,
the just looked wrong.
The R chemical just spreading around. I don't remember.
But it was the happiness Pokemon.
That Pokemon did not look good. So yeah, I do think that the Pokemon Company is bold enough to drop the teaser trailer for a theatrical film, but it's unlikely. It's possible, but it's unlikely. Moving on to another thing that I believe is possible but unlikely, the announcement of a remake game. So this could either be a sequel to Pokemon Let's Go, set in the Johto region, or the long-anticipated Gen 4 remakes. I think this is definitely something that could happen, but I also think, why would you announce a game this close to the actual release of your mainline game? Like, this would cannibalize
Sword and Shield.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it would necessarily cannibalize them. I just think it would be extraordinarily bad timing. Sword and Shield are already like runaway successes with the amount that they've sold. But I think if people perceive a better game on the horizon, they would not go ahead and buy Sword and Shield over, a good like Gen 2 remake or a really good Gen 4 remake, specifically if the Pokemon that they want in those games are playable.
You can't have Gen 4 without Garchomp.
Oh, no, sir. Yeah, they're like the Pokemon that would be available in that game. I don't think people would want to not have them. And again, they could release the full Pokedex for Gen 4 that up to where Gen 4 goes with it, right? Although I believe Gen 4 doesn't have a whole lot.
It's like 400-ish Pokemon, about the same amount that we have in Sword and Shield right now. And I'm sure there's duplicates as well.
So I think
Gen 4 is a very good sweet spot for amount of Pokemon in the Pokemon game.
Yeah, so they don't have to like add like 1,000 Pokemon in it again. They get away with, releasing the Pokemon that are featured in that particular in that game, and I think that would appease a lot of people.
I'm sure they would also. So technically, not all of those Pokemon were available as well. You had to transfer a lot of them in, or like throw them Fire Red, Leaf Green, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and like use like the cartridges to let them be available. Like it was a whole lot of hassle. And I also think if they do go that route, those Pokemon will be cut from it as well. So only Pokemon that natively appeared in the game.
All right.
So that's less.
I think that's definitely a possibility. But moving on to the next one, because I believe this ties into this.
Well, I want to also state that if we get a Gen 4 remake, I think it will be a Let's Go game. Pokemon Let's Go, Starly and Bidoof. I don't know what they call it, but I think the plan is that remakes from now on will be Let's Go titles, which I think a lot of the Gen 4 fans will be upset about. They've been asking for this for so long, and the moment they do, it's not Heart Gold, Soul Silver, it's not Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, it's Let's Go, which a lot of fans don't seem to like.
I'm not sure how I feel about a Let's Go version of Gen 4.
No,
I'm not either. I really enjoyed Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, but if we're talking about a Gen 4 remake, which
I think
Gen 4 is one of my favorite generations, it really is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's Go treatment.
It seems wrong, but I think that's what they're probably going to do. It's simple.
I'll take what I get. Let me be real. I'll take what they give me. But I think I'd be more skeptical on the Let's Go version of that. I think a Pokemon Let's Gold and Silver is a more likely candidate for that kind of treatment.
I think I would prefer Let's Go Pikachu or Pichu and Togepi personally. But I think if we are getting Gen 4 remakes, they will be in the style of Let's Go. I do think also if this kind of game, or even the next things we're going to talk about. Actually, let's just get all through this, and then I'll mention that.
All right.
How does that sound? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So this one kind of ties into the previous point, If not a remake game, I think we'd see the announcement of Gen 4 purchasable through the Nintendo eShop. Similar to how they did on the DS, the 3DS,
with the Game
red,
Boy games.
blue, yellow, silver, and gold. They released all those games on the eShop, and then they released an app so that you could take those Pokemon, transfer them to Pokemon Bank via the other Pokemon like storage app, which I don't recall what it's called at this point.
Pokemon Bank?
No, there was a Pokemon Bank. There was another one that was specifically
for those games. Yeah, it was like a tool. So it's a transfer tool that you would use to get them into Pokemon Bank.
Yeah. I don't remember what they called that.
I think it was just transfer tool.
Might have been. Don't care. But yeah, I think they would do something similar where it's like, okay, look, here's the eShop version of this title. We know you want it. You've been asking for a remake. We're not going to do a remake. Here's the next best thing. Here's the actual game with online functionality, because that game already had online functionalities. And they'd have to remove the voice chat, the voiceover protocol, but wouldn't be. I don't think that'd actually be too difficult. They could, release it and then make it connectable to Pokemon Home, and that's an easy thing. And I think a lot of people would be appeased by being able to replay Gen 4 in its actual, traditional form. But
I would honestly, I'd be insulted if they just did that. I'm not gonna lie. I would much rather them release just on the eShop Gens 1 through 3, but don't touch Diamond Pro Platinum on there. Like if we're getting in any capacity, we are getting a remake with a better battle engine, with updated graphics. I'm not settling for the 4. I won't settle, but I will be happy if they brought generations 1 through 3 just dropped on the eShop.
True. All right, so that's possible, but I think it's still unlikely. And our last possible but unlikely is a new Pokemon mobile game. The reason I say this is unlikely is because they've dedicated a lot of the last 2 years to releasing mobile games, and I think the reception that Pokemon Masters has gotten is going to make them step back from the mobile market just a little bit, so that they can actually improve on the games that are currently out on their mobile in the mobile landscape. They've already shut down. What's the Pokemon spinny figure game that they re-released?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I used to have the actual figures for that though.
I still do.
Well, mine broke, so I think I tossed them because they broke.
Duel, yeah. It's a really fun game, but man, the randomness of that game, man, it could really mess you up.
Yeah, spinning is not a good competitive mechanic.
No, not at all. Yeah, but since 2015, we've gotten Pokemon Shuffle, Pokemon Duel, Pokemon Quest, Magikarp Jump, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters, Pokemon, all those mobile games. None of them really a breakout hit, with the exception of Pokemon Go. Plus, we already know that Pokemon Sleep is coming out, so I don't think we're going to get another mobile game announcement on top of that. But you never know; it is possible. Additional
I think, So, I think that if we do get a mobile game, which I think is honestly very, very, very likely, I think we'll see a Pokemon puzzle game similar to Pokemon Picross or Pokemon Troze, Pokemon Shuffle. Again, I think that's incredibly likely, and I think if we do get it, it will also come to the Switch. It'll be on both, just like Pokemon Quest was.
I could see them doing something similar to that.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to go into our unlikely category. These are things that people definitely want, you just shouldn't expect.
Yeah.
So this is basically our debunk section. Only 2 subjects here. Enhanced version or a third version reveal. It is far too soon for them to be talking about
the
iteration or a sequel.
Now,
there's not going to be a Sword and Shield 2 announcement. It's been a month, essentially. We're not even at 2 months yet of this game's release. It's too soon. I know people are crazy, and that's the first thing their minds are going to jump to when they announce a Pokemon Direct. But no, don't expect it. It doesn't even make sense. We still don't have Pokemon Home officially announced yet, so let's not muddle the water.
Okay, I really want to touch on this though. So if we do get other versions of Sword and Shield. First of all, they will be tertiary versions. We will not get Sword, Shield, and Gun or Sword, Shield, and Spear. We're gonna get or it will be non-tertiary. Sorry, versions. We're gonna get Sword 2 and Shield 2 or whatever. Ultra Sword, Ultra Shield. That's how it's gonna be. As well as if we get these enhanced versions, or if we get Gen 4 remakes, Let's Go, whatever. All we are going to get is at the very end, they're going to show the logos. There's going to be like a live action trailer of a bunch of people, enjoying Pokemon throughout the ages, and then logos for whatever that is. Whether it's Gen 4 remakes, Let's Go, Gun, Pokemon Gun, I don't know. Whatever it ends up being.
Metroid Prime for us with just a logo reveal.
Yeah, but that's what they always do. It's, hey, Pokemon Sword and Shield and Ultra Sword and Shield, those are just live action trailers and a logo. And with what Oros, they kind of they gave us a bit more. They gave us, here's the box art, and here's some flashing words on screen, like a whole new adventure.
It's true. But once they got started with announcing things for Pokemon Sun and Moon, they just never stopped.
Yeah.
There was a Pokemon Sword and Shield announcement every week for 4 months straight. It's like, stop. We are recording too many episodes of the podcast.
But at least it wasn't every week, like in Sun and Moon.
That's true. All right, and the last thing that you just should not expect to be shown in this direct or talked about is all Pokemon being added via patch or update. Don't expect this. They've already gone on to state that all the Pokemon at some point would appear in future games in a way that's accessible to the newer games. You will never see all 1,000, whatever number the number is now, Pokemon in one single game, at least for the foreseeable future. Don't expect it. It's not coming via an update. It's not going to be patched in. That's just not what they're willing. That's not what the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are trying to do right now with the franchise. And to be fair, after experiencing Pokemon Sword and Shield, I kind of like the fact that we didn't have all these things, all these Pokemon just muddling the game. The wild area isn't just scattered with Rattatas and garbage Pokemon that I didn't want.
Yeah, I really love how Route 1 has 0 Rattatas and 0 Pidgeys. It's so refreshing. I think I've already mentioned that as well, but it's so nice.
Yes, it's actually made for a better Pokemon experience, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go through the wild area and see all these random Pokemon that I catch just to put in the just so that their entries in the Pokedex are filled, and I'm not going through the effort of transferring hundreds of Pokemon and then recatching them, because that's what the Pokemon Company really likes to do. Is we're gonna let you do it, but you gotta go to the trouble of recasting them, and they're difficult because you trained them all to level 100. So it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, I just don't see this happening. It's highly unlikely.
Now there are, going back to the whole Gigantamax Toxtricity thing, we've seen that Blastoise and Venusaur are in the code, and a couple other interesting ones. We see Keldeo is in the code, and that might be for an event.
Fight me, Kyurem.
What?
Fight me, Kyurem.
But I think, I'm not entirely sure, but there's other Pokemon like that, and I think even Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem are in the game as well. And so I think they'll be probably released in events, and maybe they'll do raids for them or what. But there are a handful of Pokemon that are in the code, not in the game, and we can see released at some point. I don't think they will do all, but I think it would be nice to see actually more than what they already just have in the code.
Have they actually shown whatever this game's version of Mew is?
Mew. They have Mew in the game.
Yeah, no,
you have to spend money on a Pokeball Go Plus.
Yeah, no. How every game has version of Mew, Celebi,
Jirachi,
Manaphy, etc., and it goes every generation has one. Have they actually revealed what this generation's version of that is?
No, I don't think it's been data mined either. I think they're just kind of no legendaries, at least right now. I think I like that. I don't like Landorus. I don't seeing Mew everywhere. It's so nice to not be go online and see all this shit. There's just 3, and they're all banned, and it's nice.
All right. So we have discussed all of the preset predictions that we had going into this. Now is the time for us to get crazy with our personal predictions.
Okay, so Pokemon mac and cheese.
You want to go first?
All right, yeah. So at the very end, we see Psyduck and Pikachu. Psyduck's, he's having a headache. He's having a real bad time, and all of a sudden, his head just explodes. And when he does, he knocks out Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Greninja, Mario, Link, and all the rest, and then Psyduck for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Fighter Pass 5.
I can totally see him adding a new Pokemon to Smash. I predict Psyduck, but now that you've said it, I kind of want to see how that would go down.
I think it'd be cool to see a Pokemon be revealed here. I don't think they will. You had said that a week from now we'll probably see a Nintendo Direct and they'll probably announce that there. Or if not, still Sakura just have a thing like live stream Sakurai, new character, and it drops the same day.
If a Pokemon was going to be added to Smash for the Fighter Pass, I think we'd probably see something along the lines of Rillaboom or Toxtricity get added to the game. Not because of Rillaboom's moveset potential, but visually, I think of the starters, he's probably the most appealing final form.
You know what?
And I
forgot. There's also G-Max Melmetal that hasn't released yet. Sorry, completely off topic, but Melmetal also has a Dynamax form that isn't in the game now.
I'm still a little upset that I went through all this trouble catching Melmetals and they're not
in the game. Yeah,
it's not in there. I was like, damn it! I was expecting Melmetal to be part of this game. Excuse me. But yeah, I could totally see a Smash announcement. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I'm not expecting that at all.
But a lot of crazy prediction. All right, so for my prediction, I'm going to be a little bit safer, but I think we're going to get a paid DLC announcement for Pokemon Sword and Shield, adding a whole new quest line. It's going to be pretty substantial. Maybe a new gym leader challenge of some sort, but definitely something that actually adds content to the game, or maybe we get a proper evil team content storyline added to this game, because we haven't this game is kind of lousy with its evil team. There's no real evil team, and then by the time there is some sinister stuff happening in the game, but it happens at the tail end of the game.
Yeah, and the big thing you want from that is an actual evil team base, because I am so upset. So if you haven't beaten it, tune out. But every other game has a secret hideout that you infiltrate and you explore at least a little bit. Like Po-Town, Po-Town was it was meh, but it was still a secret base. Aqua Lair,
the Team Rocket
Flare hideout. Yeah, Team Rocket. Exactly. Every single team has had a base. And then in Sword and Shield, you ride an elevator. There's no exploration. There's no sliding panel puzzles or anything like that, or HM puzzles.
Tower in post game.
Yeah, it serves kind of a nice little story niche. Oh, this becomes the battle tower, but all you do is ride the elevator through, and even then, the battle tower isn't even an elevator ride. You just go right to the top, and it's why even make a big deal about how this elevator can have Pokemon battles in it if that's not how the battle tower is going to work? Because you climb the battle tree, you climb the battle tower, you're already at the fucking top. But that all aside, it's you always got to explore the evil team hideout, find some items, complete some puzzles, have some battles, beat the bad guy up. No, just ride a fucking elevator. 3 battles.
There's such an environmental aspect to the storyline. I would kind of like to see Archie and Maxie come back as an evil team.
But they're redeemed. Those are the 2 characters in Pokemon that are redeemed.
They are, but I could totally see either of them like falling back off the rails, and just like, and he's like just hooking up with Rose, just being like, "You had a good idea," springing Rose out of prison, and starting something entirely new and evil. I do think we're gonna get some kind of story DLC. I think they took a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild. It's not as much as we want, but I think they saw what Breath of the Wild did with things like the Champions Bound, and I think they would definitely be down for doing something similar in scope. And I think because we didn't get a proper evil team, that's the route that they could go in, and that's my really outlandish prediction. They could do DLC in some form. I just think we're gonna get story DLC.
All right, so hear me out on this one. Pokemon Ranger, or just any like third like spin-off. Like they don't make enough spin-offs these days, and I know that they don't like doing those anymore. Like, no, why make spin-offs? Psh, why make Mystery Dungeon? Why make Ranger? Whatever.
My second one was Pokemon Conquest.
I know they'll never do it. Conquest specifically, they will never do. They really should. Especially like the success of Fire Emblem, the success of Pokemon. Now's the time.
Dude, Pokemon Conquest was just way too early, and
it really was, and they won't do it again because.
Or they could just do it the way it was meant to be done, instead of it being a Nobunaga's Ambition game. They should have done it Pokemon Cross Fire Emblem the way it was.
Either way. What if they made it a whole series and you just like crossed over with a whole bunch of different RPGs? So next Fire Emblem, then Persona, then Fire Emblem again. But like every month's a different RPG crossover could be really cool.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw the possibility of this out. I know people are gonna get mad at me. Pokemon Warriors.
I would not be mad. I like the Warriors game personally. I think that is a sloppier idea, but I don't hate it.
Like I could, just throw this out there. We're gonna have weird third game, spin-off game. We're entering that territory. We're on the same page as far as them releasing a third, tier for
if
Pokemon Warriors game is probably the most likely, just because Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors have like really, I don't know if they've done well per se, but I think Nintendo likes the relationship they have with
Koei Tecmo and W Force.
Yeah, I think they like that relationship, and they'd be willing to expand on it. And Nintendo owns just enough of Pokemon that they have that.
They can make it happen.
Yeah, they have that kind of pull where they can be like, "Look, we want this to happen, so we're gonna sun you a little bit because we're a bigger company than you."
If I can actually just say, on the subject of crossovers, but also so my Psyduck thing was a joke, just because it's Psyduck, but also Smash Bros. It's not going to happen right now. But the original thing I wanted to say was just a big crossover, which we're kind of talking about already now. And I think just like seeing, specifically with Pokemon and some other collectible monster franchise. So Pokemon X Digimon, or Pokemon X Yokai Watch, or Pokemon X one of those, or even just like give us some more Pokken DLC, but give us like guest characters. Give us, he oh my god, I can't talk. Heihachi, or Jin, from actual Tekken, just beating up a Lucario, or just like, I don't know, just give us Pokken support, but also maybe some crossover stuff might not be bad.
Pokken Tournament 2 would be a fun, like, little thing to toss out there.
I would be down.
Pokken Tournament was a highly underrated fighting game. It was so good too.
It's so good.
The mechanics in that game are really, really well thought out.
And it's simple to play too.
Oh yeah, and the control scheme is great if you have the actual peripheral.
The controller that they provided. Yeah,
they did such a good job with the way they did design that game, and it's just, I think Nintendo undervalued it.
It's criminal how undervalued it is.
And I feel like they could have done more to really promote that game. They should have pushed it hard during its E3. I said E3. During its
initial release and then even the other initial release?
No, the
Pokemon Worlds.
No, well, Pokemon Worlds. I think they've done a fairly good job of keeping relevant at Pokemon Worlds.
They have
the big fighting game tournament that
Evo.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it did go there. I forgot.
It got one season at Evo, and I don't think Nintendo put enough.
They didn't
effort into making it big at Evo. There are some really top, highly ranked Pokemon tournament players that you only see show up at Worlds because it's really the only legitimate tournament for them to play in. But yeah, I mean, like a sequel to that game would be really welcome in my opinion.
Can we talk about how there was the E3 tournament and just Matt Pat won?
I hate Matt Pat.
Granted, he had Alistair Smythe as his teammate, but like,
it's a game theory. Nah, he doesn't make bad content. He's just so weird to me.
It's just so weird that he won in like a completely stacked tournament. You know, Matt Pat, the world's best Pokemon player, apparently. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, we're definitely on the same page here. I don't think it's an unlikely prediction that Nintendo would work on some type of spin-off game just to really capitalize on the high point that Pokemon is experiencing right now. Like Pokemon is cyclical in ways where like it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, the anticipation,
and then it gets cut in half.
Yeah, right now right now we're in that high point where like the game is doing extraordinarily. Pokemon Sword and Shield are doing extraordinarily well, and you really want to capitalize on their success. Typically, we get these kind of spin-off games before the release of a major mainline game, but I wouldn't be mad to see one come out after the fact. But I think as we discussed earlier, Detective Pikachu, HD or Detective Pikachu 2 is the most likely candidate because we do know that it is coming in some form.
Which is tragic because I really wish we had something else alongside it. We need more spin-offs. Give me Ranger.
I would like a Ranger game. It's been a while since I played.
It won't work on Switch. It won't.
No, probably not unless they're willing to do some fundamental control changes.
Yeah, which won't be the same.
I mean, it could work handheld. You could get like I use a stylus to build.
Yeah, probably do that, but handheld.
Yeah, but I mean, we need more. The Switch is sorely lacking in proper handheld experiences, which is what's nice about the Brain Age game that we didn't get in America.
Didn't we just get Disney Tsum Tsum?
Yeah, that's not a real game. But yeah, I think that's it. That's all the predictions that I could think of for this. I don't have anything else crazy.
Pokemon Tsum Tsum.
Is that kind of exist with Troze?
I mean, it is, but you don't win plushies from Troze. Like, I want to go to the arcades, and right next to the Disney Tsum Tsum machines where I can win, my Tsum Tsums, I can win Pokemon Tsum Tsums. Make it happen, Game Freak.
Yeah, all right, but yeah, that's gonna go ahead and wrap up our actual prediction show. We hope you guys enjoyed this content. Like, we never really do stuff like this. We typically do our live reactions and we do our post show, but we're doing things different in 2020 going forward. We want to add content to the show and more quality content, more discussions. So stuff like this, you should be expecting more of it in 2020. It also gives us an excuse to do some more recording in the process. So yeah, we're gonna do 2020 as big as possible. We've had some discussions about what we need to do to make this a better platform for you, the audience, and we thought that this is one of the ways that we should do that. So we hope you guys enjoyed it. Look forward to many more, especially if they announce a Nintendo Direct in the near future. Next week, we are going to do a traditional podcast with our standard news bits, and we're definitely going to talk about what is actually unveiled in tomorrow's Direct. So you should be anticipating what we have to say on that. Aside from that, any other closing thoughts you have on today's show?
Please announce arm support at the Pokemon Direct. Doesn't make sense, but do it.
All right. Well, with that being said, you can hit me up on Twitter at NyceOne983. You can email me at NyceOne983@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Nintendo Power Zone. If you are a fan of the Nintendo Power Zone podcast, you can download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, stream episodes on Spotify and Stitcher Radio. But if you want to watch the live version of the show like you're doing right now, you got to check us right here on YouTube, youtube.com/Nintendo Power Zone. Blooz, hit them up.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. You know where at VKingBlooz. Blooz is always spelled BLOZ. Same with everything else. YouTube, Twitch, whatever.
That's right. We don't promote the Twitch enough. Twitch.tv/Nintendo Power Zone. We do live streams. We also do live streams on there. I think our most recent one was a Luigi's Mansion 3 stream. But with 2020 looking like we're gonna have some games, you should be prepared for us to do a lot more live streaming. But that's gonna be it from us, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay fresh. Deuces.